Beautiful Wednesday morning, one and all. Happy hump day to you and yours out there. This is Nelson Figueroa of Figgie and the Moose. Moose is not available for us today or any day this week. Filling in is my longtime co-host of the Amazing But True podcast. May it rest in peace. It was a phenomenal 4-year run that we had. Mr. Jake Brown at Jake Brown Live, the host of Mets Daily on YouTube as well, filling in with us, talking all New York sports. And right now, although training camps are opening up, we do have Mets and Yankees that we're going to be talking about extensively. Good morning, Jake. How you doing, brother?
Day 3, I figured I'd go with Rico Garcia pitching well for the Mets. I went with the Rico Suave today on day 3. We're throwing the chain. I do love to wear a chain, even if it is from TJ Maxx. Listen, Pete Alonso knows it. I did tell him that I did get it from TJ Maxx, and he complimented it. So even the polar bear was a fan of the ice of Jake Brown. So appreciate that. And day 3, I think we're comfortable enough. I can apply some Brazilian bum cream on my donut.
Oh my! Get a little, right on the air. Okay, we're doing that. That's a thing.
Apparently, it's meant for the boom boom, but this is my boom boom. So it's
all righty. All right. Well, I mean, the very good Spanish phrase. I'll let you in on later for the Spanish Academy. We'll go with a little throwback after we get done with this show. Anyway, let's start out with the Yankees last night up in Toronto. Reeling Toronto Blue Jays, of course, have taken over the American League East. And we saw something out of the Yankees that we're not used to seeing, especially up north, finding a way to win a ball game. But still, some things to talk about and get into. What did you see last night about the Yankees offense?
I saw our phenom, whose family put the L in the name to make sure we don't curse when we say his name, Cam Schlittler, which that is the correct pronunciation, I believe. We saw Death Taxes and Anthony Volpe make an error. Now, I think part of that was on Ben Rice because a good first baseman makes that scoop. He's not a good first baseman, let's be real. Pete Alonso, not a great first baseman, but what he is good at, scoops. And he probably would have scooped that. I used to be good at scoops, and then I became lactose intolerant, so not as good anymore. But that was half and half. Like, that should have been half an error on both. But again, it was Anthony Volpe. It's mental now. It feels mental with this guy. And, good for Ben Rice making up for not scooping that ball by hitting the go-ahead home run in the 9th inning. And the Yankees needed that because not only was it big to win a game, but now they go into a game where they have Max Fried, their horse, their big boy on the mound to try and take a series and get within 2 games. And all of a sudden you're feeling really good about a team 24 hours ago you were feeling really bad about. So your hope is Max Fried wins the series today. But if you're a Yankee fan, you sweated that one out just like the Mets did. You sweated it out because you had a 4-1 lead that, went down the Schlittler, and then you ended up winning the game. So you'll take it, and, you need Fried to win today. You cannot lose to Chris Bassett. We know Chris Bassett very well. Mm-hmm. Not that Chris Bassett's a bad pitcher, but when it's Max Fried bump day, that's a day you have to win if you're the Yankees.
Yeah, when you look at yesterday's game, and if you woke up as a Yankee fan this morning and they were 5 games back, you were going to be all kinds of upset. You're going to be all kinds of mad, especially they started out with a bang. First inning, 3-run home run by the All-Star. Right now he's 2 home runs shy of his home run derby pace. Jazz Chisholm hitting a 3-run home run, and, of course, giving them the 3-0 lead, 3-1 bottom of the first. Schlittler was bobbing and weaving. Okay, the Yankee number 2 prospect in the organization out there doing everything he can to avoid a disaster. Had several opportunities for the Jays to really kind of knock him around, and they weren't able to do that. So he did a very admirable job in his second major league start, showing that, he was able to bend and not break. So that's a huge moment for the kid. And gaining confidence also for the staff. They don't know him, exactly and what he is used to, or what. When you've been dominant and you've been dominant your whole life, you get drafted because you dominated kids in high school or college. Then you go through the pro ranks and you're dominating there. You're not used to the best of the best. The 8 and 9 hole hitters that you're facing at the major league level, or the 3 and 4 hole hitters on your way up to the pros. And so that shows you like how good baseball gets at the highest of levels. And he held himself very well, very poised. Didn't see it spiral out of control. We've seen that with a lot of guys, including a Carlos Rodon, who would be put in those situations like we saw last night and make a mistake pitch and wind up paying for it. So that was good to see. And, of course, I would say Uncle Ben, but he's too young. So he's got to be Cousin Ben, right? Until he gets older. He's just one of the guys that, although the average isn't what you would like to see, this guy has pop in his bat. And he is one of those guys that I like watching his at bats. I feel like he's always very close to making some hard contact, and you need that. And he was able to get a pitch over the middle of the plate and deposit it in right field. Gives the Yankees the lead, the 5-4 lead. They go on to win. So now, like we said, you wake up as a Yankee fan and they're only 3 back, and then with a chance with Max Fried to make it 2 back, you're feeling a lot better about what's going on in Yankee land. Panic City was just a day ago, was it not? So it turns very quickly when it comes to New York sports.
And this weekend, it is Mets fans for Yankees when the Philadelphia Phillies go to Yankee Stadium for the first time ever. Go Yankees. I hope that they help out the Mets this weekend as that division gets tighter. And yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees this weekend are going to make some kind of move. Maybe it's Suarez, maybe it's someone else, but every game is so big. And, my dad always says it doesn't count till after the All-Star break. And while he's partially right, I do think you saw it happen with the Mets where it went to the day after the season. These games in mid to late July are important to kind of set the mood for the second half. And, if a move is available to be made, why wait until July 31st at 5:59 p.m. to try and get it done? Or the classic comes in, 6:30. How did that deal get done? Well, we submitted the paperwork at 5:59 and 45 seconds. We got it in time. You always see those. Get them now. You go up against the Phillies this week in a tough series. Why not get another bat? And again, you saw production at a third base that was nothing on Tuesday night, where you had to pinch it with Goldschmidt. Then Goldschmidt doesn't really play third, so then you got to put Peraza in there, and then Peraza doesn't do anything at the plate either. Another classic 0-for-4 day from your third baseman. So that need gets more and more big every day. And ideally you would like a player that can also play short. Now, if you get Suarez, you get Suarez, but we talk about Volpe in the offseason. The Yankees may have to address this. Are you comfortable keep playing him? There's no other guy on the roster, but you might have to go pick up a depth shortstop to take away from some starts from Volpe, because it feels like you're throwing him out there because you got no one else at this point.
Yeah. Case in point, right? We saw it last year where you had a guy who was a former Silver Slugger All-Star in Jeff McNeil, and he was struggling mightily. And they brought up Iglesias, who was a minor leaguer at the time, hadn't played in the big leagues a whole year removed. And he came up and, hey, everybody knows in Mets land what happened with that. It was more than OMG. The guy was just a hitting machine, batted .330, hit almost 400 runners in scoring position, all those little things, and played a Gold Glove caliber second base. The guy's got hands for days. That's definitely a need where you have to have a not just adequate, but a guy that you don't bat an eyelash if you have to give Volpe 1 or 2 days off in a row, let him get his headspace together.
Because the Mets have that, Figgy, with Lindor. They have Mauricio and Acuna on the roster, who both are more than capable of playing a really good shortstop. And Mauricio, by the way, can hit the damn baseball. So the Mets with one of the best shortstops in the league, but he's struggling, yes, but have 2 backups. And the Yankees, I don't think have anyone they could go to. They're comfortable, and they're throwing out a shortstop that's probably not in the top 20, 25 in baseball.
Yeah, he's killing them on a multitude of levels. And the problem is that there's been so much build up to Anthony Volpe and how it was supposed to go. And it's not going that way. This isn't wrestling. You don't script it, right? No matter how bad you want to make him the second coming of Derek Jeter, he's not that guy yet. Right? I mean, not that guy yet. He's going through growing pains in his third season, that the growing pains you would see something like this in his first season. And even though Boone says it's only a few more errors than he had, in the Gold Glove season, I get that. But here's the problem. There are plays that are being made or not being made that lead to runs and lead to extra outs that aren't errors, right? They get marked down as base hits. Yes, he has tremendous range. Yes, he gets to the ball, but him throwing the ball and, if it's a tough play, or even if they catch it, we saw it the other day, guy scored all the way from second base because he made a pirouetting throw over the second base bag to try and make this highlight play on a runner who's a green light runner that you're not going to throw out. So instead of pump faking and maybe getting him at third, if he's aggressive on the turn, he throws the ball. They wind up losing track of the runner. The runner winds up scoring all the way from second base. The ball never left the infield. So those are the plays as well that start to add up for a guy like Anthony Volpe. And yeah, it is mental. It's not physical tools. It's not that he's not a gifted athlete. It is the mental side of, if the ball is hit to me, I've got to get rid of it. Like, he doesn't even want to be able to pat his glove twice. Remember, David Wright used to have the double pat thing going all the time, but he would get the job done. That's all people care about. They don't care how you do it, just get the job done. And we're just not seeing enough of that from Volpe.
And listen, I should have knocked him too hard. He's got 12 homers and 53 RBIs. That's what's kind of carried him. You almost don't even realize, you forget that he has 53 ribbies.
Yeah.
He's stolen 10 bases. Probably should steal more, because this was a guy that was touted as, he's going to steal.
His on base percentage is terrible, though. He doesn't get on base.
Yeah, on base is 284. OPS is 675. The fact he does have 53 RBIs is carrying him. He's driven a good amount of guys in. He's moved down now to the ninth in the order. This was once a guy that they thought could be their leadoff hitter. That is a long, far way away from happening. But I think mentally it would help if 1 or 2 games a week you get him off his feet, you give him a breather, and you have someone reliable. You already have no one reliable at third. It's tough when you have, defensive liability as short as well. So that left side of the infield, it's no Wright and Reyes. It's no A-Rod and Jeter. I don't know what I don't know what to call them. I don't know what duo that didn't work out. Sonny and Cher was a good duo. You got any bad duos that never worked out? I don't know.
Listen, some people might say Jake Brown, Nelson Figueroa, but I'll remove us from that talk. Right? Too soon. Listen, I think one of the things is that the Yankees, again, they won the game. All's well that ends well. When you win the ball game, you try to kind of sweep it under the rug and move on to the next game. Let's hope for bigger and better things from young Anthony Volpe and the Yankees. Tonight they will be facing, of course, like you said, our old friend Chris Bassett up in Toronto, Max Fried on the bump. Remember, Max Fried, this is one of the knocks on him, is injuries. It may not be big injuries, but you're talking about blisters, and he's had blister issues before, right? And blister issue could lead to an elbow issue. Elbow issues lead to a shoulder. All these different things can come up just from something like a blister. So, they're going to, I think, take it easy with him. They're going to be on watch with him. So let's see if he can get through 5 rock solid innings as he has been all year. One of the best pitchers in baseball, 2.43 ERA, 11-3, all-star, and a guy who really hasn't batted an eyelash. The pressure of New York has not gotten to him, not one bit.
Yeah, Max Fried is a guy that when he signed that 8-year deal, you said to yourself, yeah, this could be good for a couple of years. It's the back end of that deal you worry about. And a guy who's had injury troubles throughout his career, is he going to last 8 years? Now, if the Yankees can win a World Series in the first 4, heck, they probably don't care about the second 4, just like Juan Soto. If the Mets win 1 World Series in the first 5 to 8 years of that deal, you're like, oh, whatever, 9 through 15. We got our ring. We've been waiting 4 freaking decades for this. The Yankees have been waiting a long time. I mean, 2009 is for the Yankees, for that franchise, is a long time. So their hope is that Fried is that Game 1 World Series starter, Game 1 playoff starter, that Game 4 starter, that Game 7 starter, and they can work him to the ground and get 3 playoff starts. That's what you think about when you get Max Fried, is what can he do for us in October? Because like we talked about yesterday, is Carlos Rodon, are you faithful in him in a Game 2? I don't know. And then after that is TBD. So Fried better stay healthy. The Yankees got to be smart about this. I don't know if they're going to skip a start here and there, maybe give him an extra day here and there, but they got to make sure, because we've seen him go in October where he wasn't healthy. We saw it with the Braves. Yankees got to find a way to make sure he is on that hill, assuming that they make it to October.
All right, time to shift gears. We're going to take a little break right here. You're watching Figgy and the Moose, along with Jake Brown, my former co-host of the Amazing But True podcast, host of Mets Daily on YouTube. Check them out when you can. We're going to take a break here. We'll come back and we'll talk a little Mets. All right, welcome back, boys and girls. Figgy and the Moose, Nelson Figueroa, of course. That is Jake Brown filling in for Marc Malusis. He's been with me the past 2 days. This is day 3. He's made it to hump day, ladies and gentlemen, and has a smile on his face still. So thank you very much, Jake, for filling in. And, again, you speak for all fans when it comes to New York sports. You've been in those streets. You've been in those mean streets as a New York fan. So your quest for a title continues on. We got to get into talking about the Mets and what they're doing and how things are looking over in Queens. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, well, first off, I don't think people realize there is nobody in this business who have interviewed more New York sports athletes or people in different walks of life in this world than me. And I know I'm underrated, I'm a sleeper, but you can check the Rolodex, you can check the guest list, you can look it up. It's just a fact. So I just had a flex on him for one second there. But there's no one that's interviewed DJ
Hashtag
Khaled,
facts.
Eli Manning, Joe Namath, Mike Piazza, David Wright, the voice of Ash Ketchum in Pokemon, the voice of Jasmine in the original Aladdin, the Tony Award winning genie in Aladdin, who's gotten a shout out during Aladdin on Broadway. Okay, I'm done.
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. You could check the LinkedIn. Mark Cuban, Mr. Wonderful. Let me text Mr. Wonderful right now. Okay, we're back. All right. The Mets.
Yeah.
Francisco Alvarez, man, what a beautiful sight. First night, he nearly hits one out of the park. That's a home run in many stadiums. And then last night, big 2-run homer to left to tie the game. The offense was making Kyle Hendricks look like Jimi Hendrix out there. You were like, you're playing that air guitar at Citi Field. By the way, in front of 43,000 on a Tuesday night, and there wasn't even a giveaway. I mean, I don't want to hear, oh, that game was packed because that giveaway. No, yeah. I don't want to hear because it was $5 dog night that's why it was packed. They do that every Tuesday. 43,000. I don't want to hear because Mike Trout's in town. Mike Trout's been hurt the last decade. Like, let's get serious. So, Mike Trout's a good player, but the fans are buying in. 43,000 sold out crowd. I mean, it was the top 3 biggest crowd of the year, and there was no giveaway, and it was a Tuesday night in July. So the fans want a winner. They want a champion. And again, we talk about David Stearns. What he does is going to be big. But that was a big win for the Mets coming back in that game because, you don't want to lose series to sub 500 teams. The Mets have a very tough second half of the year schedule where a majority of their schedule is against teams over 500 in the playoff hunt. So when you get a team like the Angels coming to town, and not saying the Angels are that bad, they're just under 500, but you're a better team. You got to be Kyle Hendricks. You got to be Tyler Anderson. And today you should be able to beat a bullpen game. So I thought the baby Mets in that inning really were on display, and it was a beautiful sight from Vientos to Alvarez getting on to Beatty, continuing to play great ball on both sides of the ball, making a dazzling defensive play in that game. And Ronnie Mauricio, hit, stolen base, Nimmo base hit. You know me, I love small ball, a bunt, a stolen base, give it to me every day of the week. And you saw that after Alvarez homered, they manufactured a run. And by the way, did it all with 2 outs. This is a team with running in scoring position that has been piss poor all season. It almost feels like they're better when their backs are against the wall, when there's 2 outs, when the bottom of the order's up, when all hope seems lost. That's when they come back from the dead. So it was a good win. I think a sweep would be big. You get a day off because then you got a really tough West Coast trip. The Giants are right there in the wild card race. I know they've been reeling a little bit, but they're in the race. And then you get the Padres who are also in the wild card race. And, the Mets are not good on the road. Their home and road differential is off the charts. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a team that's so good at home and so not that good on the road. So nice win for the Mets. Great to see Alvarez back. Not in the lineup today, though, which I thought they might DH him today, give him, keep that positive mojo going. But I understand you don't want Torrens getting hurt. You lose your DH, things shift. Yeah. So let's go, Mets. Keep it going.
Yeah, I think when you look at this team and the baby Mets were on full display last night, and we've been wondering whatever happened to them, right? Whatever happened to that young core? Whatever happened to the promise that we once saw? The Marc Vientos, 25 plus home runs. The Alvarez, 25 plus home runs. Brett Beatty, always seems like he almost figures it out, but he's not there yet. He's gotten a lot more comfortable in his role of playing anywhere and everywhere just to be in the lineup because he's swinging such a hot bat. Mauricio, again, you love his versatility, switch hitter, both sides. He has speed. Then you have, of course, Luis Angel Acuna, who comes off the bench, can pinch run, can play 3 different positions for you. So I think the versatility that this young core has, and not, I think not feeling like, oh, I'm a third baseman, I'm only a third baseman, that's all I can do. It really helps this team. It really helps Carlos Mendoza, and it helps when they're making a lineup because they can go at you from a pair of different angles. They can come in late and make the swaps, make the switches. Tyrone Taylor, McNeil playing center, Tyrone Taylor going in for defense at the end. There's so many different things that you can do with this team. I think it makes it really, really fun that these guys are all accessible. They're all willing to play different positions. It's not, sitting back. I know I've been in the big league so long. This is all I know how to do. I'm not going to do anything else. We don't have that. Remember Gleyber Torres famously not wanting to move to third base. The top of the lineup last night, they were 12, 15, 1 for 16. 1 for 16. So the top of the lineup, which is normally what carries the Mets, right? The top 4 hitters at least. Top of the lineup, 1 for 16. Yeah, the bottom of the lineup really did all the damage, and that's what we were talking about was finding a way. And whether it's early, whether it's late, just find a way to stay in a ball game. The relief pitching has been outstanding. Montas was great last night. 6 Ks. He had the 2 runs, the 1 home run. Soler got him. Garcia, Mr. New York. You talk about Mr. Worldwide, and Pitbull, and this guy Garcia is just going to keep going back and forth from the Bronx to Queens all year long. It seems. I think this is again, you talk about having enough bodies to fill out the roster, guys that can eat up those middle innings. So you have to go to your Garrett, Stanek, Brooks Raley, and then of course to Diaz. You have to find ways to make it work. Brazoban being an opener and then being a middleman. The flexibility of this roster is different. It's just different than it used to be, where you brought in guys that could do one thing and only one thing well. And if they weren't doing it well, then you were up Schlitz Creek, I should say, right?
Yeah, let's call it Schlitz Creek for now. That's important that you win games like that, because the top of the order doing nothing. Also, mind you, Edwin Diaz unavailable last night, Brooks Raley unavailable. Yes, you sweated. And we know I sweat a lot. I carry a sweat towel with me in the summertime. I need to get a new collection because I keep having to wash these sweat towels. I was sweating. Ryan Stanek will always make us sweat, especially when he's closing a 1-run game, but he got the job done. And Rico Garcia getting the job done. And these guys that you wouldn't expect to get it done, they get the job. Frankie Montas. So, yeah, it was like an underdog story last night. Bottom of the order, bottom of the barrel relievers all getting the job done for the Mets. Francisco Lindor, someone tweeted me today, because I think I made a good point. Some people disagreed with it when Francisco Lindor broke his toe. I said either IL him or sit him until Tuesday when you play the Nationals. Remember, it happened, I believe, on the Wednesday or Thursday, and he pinch hit Friday. Then he started on Saturday against the Rockies that weekend, playing with a broken toe. I really thought the Mets made a mistake, because since then he has not been the same hitter. I thought the Mets should have said either IL him or sit him till Tuesday, no matter if he begged Carlos to play or not. You should have gave him those extra days. And I don't know if it's the toe or not, but the broken toe just doesn't just go away and you're fine. I thought just keep him off his feet, sitting him for Friday. Set you're playing the lowly Rockies. You can win without him. And they did win. They won with him, but they probably would have won without him too. I thought they made a mistake there. And I don't know if that's, it might be too long ago to, complain about that, but it's pretty clear since that injury, he hasn't been the same. He's in the worst stretch of his career, over 30. I think he gets out of it, but you're seeing Alonso having a little, dog days, summer struggle as well. Soto's kind of been up and down, but he's mostly been fine. Nimmo's been kind of up and down, but they need the bottom of the order to continue this, because when those boppers get going, we see the potential of this lineup. We just never see anyone all at the same time hitting together.
Yeah, no, and I think that's one of the things about the Mets is that lineup still we haven't seen. Imagine if we saw it for like 2 series in a row. Everybody clicking, everybody getting a hit kind of thing. And we don't see that normally. You will see one guy get hot, have a 3-for-4 game. We'll see another guy pick it up, a big home run in a big spot. But for the most part, hitting with runners in scoring position has been the biggest problem. And that's an Achilles heel of any team. You look at their run differential. Yes, they're a positive run differential, and that's great. But it's one of those things that you look a little bit deeper into it. Is there a certain amount of ball games that they've outscored their opponent by a bunch, which makes it really lopsided, right? So if it's a 10-2 ball game twice, and that's a 20-4 instance, and then you start looking at, it's a plus 16. No, but it's really not. It's just those 2 games. It's what it averages out to be. When it comes to Lindor and him wanting to play every day, right after he broke the toe, he was still hitting okay. He had some streaks in there. He had a couple of he had a 3-for-5 game 2 days after with the Rockies. He had a 2-for-4 game against Tampa Bay. He had another 2-for-5, 2-for-4, 2-for-4 back-to-back against Philly and Atlanta towards the end of June. So he was able to maintain it, but I think at one point it just maybe got to be too much, whatever it may be. He goes through these streaks, and we've seen this from him, right? So I'm excited about when he comes out of it, because we know what happens when he comes out of it and he gets streaky. We saw him carry the team all the way September through the playoffs, hitting big home run after big home run and just always coming through. He's like the Jalen Brunson of baseball, just Captain Clutch. He's the guy that you want up at the plate, knowing that what he can do, and he still has the speed. Juan Soto again has now been a different player since June. So Pete Alonso you're trying to make sure these streaks are smaller and smaller. I think we start to look at them more like, oh my God, over 22, over 23. If you go looking into anybody's career, it has happened before. And it's not time to be like, oh, this guy's washed now all of a sudden because he went over whatever. They go through these bad streaks, but I think all in all, like this lineup has the depth. I think this roster has the depth to survive things like this. We get Sean Manaea back on the mound, who has looked every bit of the guy that you signed. He's got 13 strikeouts and only 7 innings pitched. We saw him come back 7 punch outs that first outing in relief. The fastball up in the zone, the big sweeper, and changing speeds on the sweeper and angles with the low arm angle. He's been a totally different pitcher since he's stuck with something that worked. And what did he do? He was watching someone else, Chris Sale's arm angle, and he was like, man, that looks like a tough angle to pick up for not just a lefty, but even a righty. And he's really stuck with it and harnessed it since then. And midseason last year, where he started to get back up again with his arm angle, brought it back down to that lower arm angle, and has been lights out ever since. So looking forward to seeing him get a little bit deeper into games. And now, of course, you have Senga, you have Manaea, you have the starting rotation that you had hoped from the beginning when you made all the signings and decided to put this team together. It seems like, when was the last time that the Mets have signed 5 pitchers and they all were ready to go from day one all the way through a season? It never happens, right? You don't ever have the same 5 starters. But we're talking about even with the Verlander days and the Scherzer days, that team never got to pitch together. They never ran one time through the rotation. Somebody was always hurt. Somebody was always out. Quintana had the rib injury, remember? And Verlander started on the IL as well. Then Scherzer went on the IL and got suspended. So we never see those 5 stars ever come together. And you get them together, you want to see how they play together for an extended period of time. If you can get them rolling in the last 2 months of the season, as you move into the playoffs, that's where I feel you're going to be at your best. And I still think Clay Holmes, if he's not going to be one of the 2-3 starters that you start in the playoffs, you can slide him right into the back of that bullpen. And if all he's trying to do is help you win a ring, I don't think he'll have a problem with it.
Let's knock on wood when we talk about injuries. We know we could wake up any day and have a shoulder impingement. Speaking of that, Paul Blackburn is pretty much ready. Paul Blackburn's in the classic, like, hey guys, I'm over here. I'm ready. We don't want you. Sorry, we don't want you. So they're going to make a decision on Paul Blackburn because he complained about when he moved to the bullpen and he sucked in the bullpen. So are you going to put him back to the bullpen? Is he going to be a 6th starter? Does he replace Clay Holmes? Because you're talking about Clay Holmes playoffs. I don't think Clay Holmes is getting to September as a starting pitcher. They're already limiting his innings, taking him out early. And Sean Manaea today, can we see 85 pitches? Like, clearly something is wrong. His last start, when we talked about you put Carrillo in the 5th inning, he was at 69 pitches. Why did he start Friday on a limit when you just pitched him Sunday if he was on a limit? Like, why not give him a few extra days and have him go 80? Because that extra inning, those 3 extra outs will very much help the Mets. And yes, they're fairly well rested with their big guys going into today, so you don't need 8 innings out of Manaea. But can we get 6? I mean, we were 1 out away from getting the only non-David Peterson 6-inning outing from a starter since like the Bush presidency. It's been forever. We've been waiting for years. 4 scoring 4 years ago. Give me 6 innings from a starting pitcher. So I'd like to see Manaea get to 85 pitches. I mean, we got to put a collar on the guy and have a nap, take him back to preschool. What are we doing here? You're paying this guy 20. And I know this is, keeping him healthy for the long run, but it's like, come on, he had a month of rehab. It makes me think that bone chips in the elbow are a bigger problem than the Mets and Manaea are leading on to. And I hope I'm wrong, but that's why I think they got to get a start or 2 here at the deadline in 8 days, because like you said, it doesn't happen. These guys do not hold up. And I'm sorry, I'm not looking forward to Paul Blackburn's return. And I don't know if Noel McLean or Brandon Sproul or Jonah Tong will come up here and be great. And neither do the Mets, because they had a month to go to them and they chose not to. So we'll see what happens. But you always need more arms. The more arms, the merrier. And I know you agree as a pitcher yourself.
No doubt. I think for guys like Blackburn, I was one of those guys. You're right now Geico, your low cost insurance, sitting there waiting for an opportunity. And whatever the team gives you, they give you. But you have to absolutely perform better when given an opportunity. So look forward to him and I start tonight. He's going up against Brock Burke and the Los Angeles Angels.
In an hour, by the way. It's a 1:10 start today. It's camp day at the
110
ballpark.
start. Yep, that's right. 110 start. So the kiddies will be out there, but the fans have been fantastic. And as a fan, Jake, it just feels different right now being a Mets fan. It feels like we are actually in control of our own destiny for the first time in a long time, where you have confidence. And they're in second place by a half game. But they are continuing to fight each and every day. You can't wait for it to all kind of start to gel together on a regular basis and start playing their best baseball when it's the most meaningful.
Ask again on August 1st, though, because if David Stearns does not add to the roster, I'll be writing today for Fantasy Sports on SI, new site I started writing for, a mock trade that would have the Mets land Willie Castro and Danny Coulomb in the package. It would give them a utility player who plays every position and the best lefty reliever in baseball right now, both rentals that I don't think you'd have to give up like a Jet Williams to go get. So even those moves, I think, will bolster the roster. Everyone talks Kelly Johnson, Wandy Uribe. You might need those guys, maybe more, but if you don't get more, at least get those guys and hope that they can help you and good health will help you and everyone hitting at the same time will help you. It's killing me not being there. I would have been there on a Tuesday night, but I'm in suburban New Jersey with a bunch of rando Philly fans. It's killing me.
Oh, we got to get you back in New York, brother. We'll find some way somehow. Anyway, this has been Nelson Figueroa, Jake Brown, filling in for Marc Malusis on Figgie and the Moose here on Picks Plus. Be sure to check us out on Sports Nation Nightly at 7 p.m. weeknights for a lot more content, a lot more New York content. Where, again, we didn't even have a chance to get into a little bit of Jets and Giants news with their practices starting up. Here we go. We're already halfway through the year and looking forward to the second half, this championship season for baseball. We're getting to the playoffs and World Series as basketball, football just start. But New York sports is about to get wild with a lot of new faces, a lot of new coaches. And let's see if
Figgy, do we need play-by-play at training camp? Do we need the Justin Field pass completion on July 23rd? I'm a Jets guy. I'm Giants. I love New York football. I hosted shows. I've interviewed all the biggest names in New York football. I don't need to know that Garrett Wilson caught a pass from Justin Field on a nice throw on July 23rd. Like, I don't need the play-by-play unless you're giving it to me.
7-on-7s, he was amazing.
If you give it to me in a Brockmeyer voice and delivery, sure, I'll watch that. I'll watch Hank Azaria call it Justin Fields training camp. I don't need play-by-play. Stop tweeting. I almost got to mute these people because it does not matter. Just get out healthy, bubble boy all these guys, and make sure on week one Justin Fields is throwing to Garrett Wilson and handing off to Breece Hall. And that's what I want, but I don't need to know about the nice catch he made in a shirts versus skins game on July 23rd.
Oh, that's why he's Jake Brown, ladies and gentlemen. The man has an opinion on everything. We love him. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow on Picks 11 Plus and check us out on Sports Nation Nightly. We'll catch up with you soon. Take care, New York.